Okay, so you know about mind mapping. Now I'll tell you where a good place to mind map is. I think I have mentioned that I used to be in the chimney business. Now the chimney business is a seasonal business. And, you know, you've heard about the proverbial one-armed paper hanger. You know, that's chimney guys in the middle of the fall. And, I mean, that season's just totally crazy. And accountants at tax time, you know, they know this thing. So if you've got a truly seasonal business, you know how awful it can be. I mean, it's wonderful and awful at the same time, right? That's when the money is, and that's when the trouble and hassle is. So, and along about the middle of the busy season, most people are overwhelmed. There's stuff they're not getting done, and the pressure is on. And I don't mean just work, but it's all kinds of things around you. You're losing control in the middle of a busy season. So that's one scenario when you're losing control. And another time is just, how about just good practice so you never get into a bad spot to start with? So what we're going to talk about here is just thinking and taking time to think. This is also known as meditation. The word meditation means different things to different people, but you know, we're not talking about it here in you know, an Eastern sense of you know, letting yourself go or anything like that. We're just talking about classic meditation where you think about something, and but it's purposeful. This is different from just the thoughts that roll through your head all day long. This is you getting away and thinking for the purpose of thinking. So when you're overwhelmed, you do it, and you do it as a matter of course. If you're the kind of guy that's smart enough to just get away and do things before there are emergencies, I'm ashamed to say I wasn't always that guy. I did it a couple times, but way better to act ahead of your problems, right? Okay, now getting away from the action is really a gift to yourself, especially if you're in a seasonal business, or if just big pressure is on for whatever reason. You are overwhelmed for whatever the reasons are. It doesn't matter. Overwhelmed is overwhelmed. Get away. As I mentioned one time before, I live in near Baltimore. Well, you know, Gettysburg's up the road, less than an hour from me. So Gettysburg used to be my place where I'd go think, the battlefield. So you'd drive out there, and it was just a nice day, and I'd sit in my car and drink coffee and just think. And I found that after a while, I could let go of the problems that were on me and think about things going forward. If there was something that, you know, I really wanted to move forward, but I couldn't stop long enough and think how to do it, there was a time for that. But there were other things too. There was all kinds of indecision. And when you are hassled, you can't deal with things handily. I mean, you may have somebody you need to let go. You may have a customer that's going to sue you if you don't, whatever, and you need to figure out what you're going to do. It could be anything, but you need a chance to just take a breath, think things through, and when you do that, you'll find that the answers do come to you, but they don't if you don't take the time for it. So, this is not the same thing as relaxation, but I will say it is kind of relaxing when you get away from the hustle and bustle and the demands. You know, I used to go to Gettysburg, as I mentioned. There's another thing too. You may have heard this story. You ever heard of Hannah Wesley? Anyway, she was John Wesley's wife, and this lady had like a dozen kids or something. I mean, they had a lot of children, right? And back in those 1800 days or 1700 days, I guess they were, houses weren't big, and you didn't have a room where you could go. And if you had a dozen kids, you weren't hiding from those kids, okay? But she had them disciplined to leave her alone if she put her apron over her head. So she'd like put it up over her head, and that meant leave Mom alone. And I guess she prayed is what she did. You get the principle. Find a place that's away from everything where you are undistracted. You don't want to hear the telephone. Turn your phone off when you go out there, right? And I think you got the picture here. Get away, not close to home. All right, now, when you do this, a couple things will happen. You'll feel good because you're going to gain control. Nothing like being out of control, huh? That's a weight. And it's always productive. I can assure you, you will not come back empty-handed. If you come back empty-handed, I don't know, you call me up and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but you're not going to come back empty-handed. You'll think of something. The ability to make decisions or sort your priorities is what you're going to get out of it. And you'll get creative. All kinds of fresh thoughts will come to you. And what will you do with all those fresh thoughts that are pouring into you? On a few different subjects. You can mind map. You can have a few different mind maps going. If you got a couple different things that the thoughts are just flooding in from, it's okay. It's all right. Run a couple different maps. All right, but that's what you're going to do. You will have your paper and pencil or paper and pen with you and hit those thoughts because they're going to come fast. All right. So meditation, I just generally call it thinking purposefully. Cut some time out for yourself. Go out there and sit down and think. It'll be productive. All righty. Hey friends, I hope this was useful to you. Would you do something for me? Would you please share this with anybody you know that ought to hear it too? And then would you please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, right? That's kind of important on these things. Feel free to leave comments. All right, thanks a lot. And now get out there and do some winning.